But I know, and we know, that Wilmington can be better than this, that Wilmington is better than this. My name is President Congo, and I'm the president of Wilmington City Council. My colleagues and I, along with several community leaders, are here today because our children and our city need our help. We are experiencing unprecedented violence, but I believe this violence is only a symptom of a much greater problem that we must begin to address head-on. Our systems are broken. Our public education, our court, our prison, and even our political systems are all broken. Over several decades, these broken systems have directly impacted our families and our sense of community here in Wilmington. The financial and mental poverty that those in our poorest neighborhoods have experienced can no longer be accepted. We cannot continue to place the blame on the children and their families for the changes that we have to make. Wilmington's small size is both a curse and a blessing. We are all connected, so when tragedy strikes, it affects all of us. As a local funeral director, I see the same children attending funeral after funeral for their friends, and I cannot imagine the trauma that they have experienced. But because we are all connected, it is also a blessing. We can unite and make change much faster than those bigger cities that are experiencing the same violence that we are here in Wilmington. We know our governor, we know our county executive, our attorney general, our local judges, school board members, state officials, and we know our city council members along with our mayor. But we have to begin to work together to lay a foundation that will create a better Wilmington for our children. We need our churches to unite and stand with us. The church has always been a catalyst to create change in our community. So I'm calling on our elected officials and our clergy, our educators, our community leaders, to come together to save our children and to save our city. We have to put our relationships and our disagreements aside and do what we know is right. We must begin to create a public school system that will prepare our children for today's and future needs. Our prison system must begin to rehabilitate as they are intended to do. Our court system must be held accountable to be lenient when appropriate, but also not continue to release dangerous people back in our community to wreak havoc. Our government officials must begin to redirect funding so that Wilmington can become a model city. We must reinvent Wilmington. City Council has pledged $45,000 to support some grassroots organizations that are addressing violence. But it would take so much more. We're asking our mayor to invest at least $1 million to anti-violence initiatives, which is only 2% of the American Rescue Plan funds that Wilmington has received. We are asking our governor and our county exec to do even more. Let's begin to show our community who believes in us that it will no longer be business as usual. I pray that my fellow colleagues on council have the courage to also take a stand. This stand won't be popular, and it might make ourselves and other elected officials feel uncomfortable, but it's bigger than us and it's bigger than our friendships. I believe that is why we were all elected to serve. I will now turn it over to Pastor Ben of Safe United Neighborhoods and Reverend H. Ward Greer of Churches Take a Corner. Thank you so much for your time.
We say good morning to everyone. I'm Pastor Sandra Ben of Praying Ground Community Church, and I'm the Executive Director of Safe United Neighborhoods, known as SUN, and I'm also the President of our Northeast Civic Association and our Vice President of the Neighborhood Planning Council, and I am saddened in my heart to see so many that are killing one another, our youth, or just not realizing what life is all about and have no respect for life and have no respect for themselves. So it's up to us to continue to work together. Safe United Neighborhoods is known to walk the streets along with our police. We believe in community policing, and we go out in the streets on a weekly basis, weather permitting, but we go out and we try to talk to the youth, talk to our residents, just to let people know that we care, that somebody does care about their life, somebody cares about what they're doing. And we have to continue this. My main 2 words this year was continue and to be consistent, not to give up. We got to continue doing these things together. I'm very grateful to Chief Tracy, who makes sure the police come out with us, you know, that we get out there and walk. We walk with the teachers from Lombardi Elementary School. We were out there talking to the kids. You know, they were so happy last week to see their teachers that they haven't seen because of the pandemic. You know, but these are the things that we have to continue doing. We have to change the mindset of our youth, letting them know that this is not the way to live. And sadly to say, we have some adults who need the mindset change as well, because they don't understand that they got to teach the children how to be. So it's up to us, you know, our leaders, our council members. I'm truly grateful today that they have called on me to come and speak and to even receive awards and recognition to know that we are out there working together. But if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it. So we have to come together and continue to do that. So I'm hoping that people will hear our voices, that we will listen to one another, work together, and continue to do what we're doing, and everything will be better. But it won't get better until we come together and do it. Thank you.
First of all, I would appreciate it that we don't applaud when we talk about the violence. We stay silent for a moment. I have a good heart, it's strong, but my heart is broken, and tears flow all too often. The real pandemic, the real violence, is we have too many people, and I can say this because I know a lot of them, and we have a lot of churches and pastors who don't care. That's the real pandemic and the real violence. I'm calling on behalf of the Churches Take a Corner. Elder Ty called me last night, so I don't have a written speech. Thank goodness, we'd be here too long. I'm calling on pastors, calling on ministers, calling on evangelists, calling on those who walk the streets and call themselves ministers, and they're really not, to step up to the plate. Our churches have not come together the way we used to come together and make a difference in the community. We've become afraid, as pastors, we've become as afraid as some of our neighbors. That has to change. It has to change now, it has to change here, it has to change today. If anything is going to change, it has to start from, it has to at least, one of the centers of the beginning has to be the faith community. We can't claim a God or Allah who cares if the church is not there and shows how much Allah and God and Yahweh care. We are the hands, we are the feet, we're the voices, we're the eyes, we are the tears of God. And there's work to be done, and let me say it and then I'll shut up. We cannot do that work in the pews in the house of worship. The work has to be done in the street, and Churches Take a Corner have been doing that for decades. We just need to keep it going. Thank the City Council, thank President Congo, thank those who care. But unless our hearts continue to feel the pain, nothing will change until we walk together, children. And we can't get weary, because there's a better place for our children and our young adults and our teens who are lost in the street. Let there be peace in Wilmington, and let it begin with you and me.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Harley, and I represent the 4th Councilmatic District, which have 2 communities that have been majorly impacted by the gun violence. One community is the East Side, and another community being Southbridge. I want to make it clear to Wilmingtonians that City Council, we have collectively been coming together to talk about and meet about what we can do about the gun violence in the city of Wilmington. It started in the fourth quarter of 2020. We came together, we organized a meeting at Easy on Mount Carmel. In the fourth quarter, we organized a meeting, and in the first quarter of 2020, we called upon our Attorney General, we called upon our Chief of Police, our Mayor, and our County Exec was in that meeting right down the street at Easy on Mount Carmel on 8th and Walnut. It was actually January the 15th that we came together with the community. We had over 200 people from the community that we wanted to hear from them. What did the community feel that they could do working with their elected officials, our Chief of Police, our Attorney General, to come up with some solutions. We allowed the community to come up and to share their ideas, their suggestions. City Council, we have that information, and due to COVID, we were not able to continue our follow-up meetings. But I guarantee you today, Wilmington, that now that the regulations are being lifted, those suggestions, those ideals that the community share with us, and in terms of how they can come together to work with us, we will be coming together and we will be meeting. And my ask from the community is this: if you want to be a part of the solution, along with working with City Council and other entities as it relates to the gun violence, I'm asking for one thing, that you reach out to the City Council office, give us your name, give us your contact information, because it's going to take the whole village coming together to work towards solutions. It's going to take the elected officials, it's going to take the clergy, it's going to take the community, it's going to take our nonprofits, and I'm going to say it's going to even take our businesses. Everyone that's in the city of Wilmington, that's in this city together, it's going to take all of us coming together to come up with solutions. So again, my ask is that you reach out to the City Council office and give us your contact name, and when we plan our next meeting to talk about public safety and what we can do together, you will be contacted. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Anthea Oliver, Councilwoman for the 3rd District. I'd like to thank our President, President Congo, for listening to us and taking a stand and having this press conference today. I think it's important that the Chief gets out and talks about what's going on in the city of Wilmington. I think the Mayor needs to come out and talk about the violence in the city of Wilmington. I'm not blaming either one of them, but we need to hear what's going on with the stats and what side of town. I represent the east side, and I also represent Riverside, and I represent the northeast area. And it has plagued our community. I mean, this epidemic has got to stop. And as Councilwoman Michelle said, and Trippy Congo, it's going to take all of us. It takes a village. I mean, and what's bothering, you go to these funerals, and I know the aunts, I know the cousins. We know the grandparents. I'm so glad to see people out here today that really care, like Brother Dwight. I see Ivan, and I see some other close friends of mine here. It's really sad what's going on out here, and they keep saying there's nothing for kids to do. That's not true. The Y is open, the Browns and Boys Club, the William Hicks Anderson. We have the Hope Commission. It's all kinds of activities out here. The PAL Center, put down the telephones. The parents need to take responsibilities. Stop letting them on the phones, playing them shooting games. That's all. It's no more Pac-Man. Every game, every time I go to somebody's house, they're playing games, and it's involving violence. It's all the games are shooting. And it's sad that it's teenagers. Allegedly, 3 kids got shot this morning over Thomas Edison. That's a shame. And we know everybody, and we have got to stop, and it takes a village. That's all I have to say.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brigida Fields. I'm the council person for the 5th District, and I represent West Center City, Hilltop. So if you know, then I know, okay? And that's where a lot of the shooting, the drug dealing, and the whole pandemic and epidemic of lives being taken is happening. First thing we have to do is we have to start with prayer, okay? We have to pray. Even when you don't feel like it, you got to pray for your kids when they walk out the door. If you see someone on the corner, just in Jesus' name, because you know prayer changes things. So I'm here to say, you know, last week, it'll be a week yesterday that Kumba Academy came to us and gave us suggestions on how we could work with the youth in the city of Wilmington. They gave us their letters and they gave us suggestions. It is just by time today that we have to address gun violence. So what I'm asking the citizens of Wilmington, what I'm asking the parents, the grandparents, and the children, it is accessibility. City Council, we're accessible. Accountability. We as adults for the city of Wilmington, we as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, we are accountable. And now it is time for us to take action against the gun violence in the city of Wilmington. So working with President Congo and the rest of my colleagues and with the churches and the nonprofit organizations, I know that we can make a change in the city of Wilmington. Remember, we are going to pray. That's going to make a change. We're going to be accessible, we're going to be accountable, and we are going to take action. Thank you.
Mixed feelings of coming up here and talking about the gun violence that's been plaguing our communities for years now. As the vice chair of the Public Safety Committee, it is outside of just creating the laws and regulations within our communities. It is also the action, as my colleague just said, that needs to happen. So in times of, even when laws are being made, all the time they're not implemented correctly, right? In order for them to actually create the change that we want to see. So it takes all of us, as all my colleagues have said, all of us, in order to really make the change we want to see. A lot of times our communities have the answers. They are the ones who live in these communities every single day and are re-traumatized every single day based on the trauma that we help facilitate, because we do not step up to the plate to actually do something. So I am hoping and praying that we don't have to continue to have press conferences like this. And I also hope that our chief does decide to come out and have a conversation with our community about the plan of what is going to happen in the city of Wilmington to decrease what we are seeing here during our pandemic. So I hope and I pray that, again, as there are activities for our young people, there are some young people that those places are not, they're not going to. Let's just be honest. We have to go to them. They are modeling behaviors of adults. And a lot of times if we don't model it, how do we expect our kids to model it? So we have to be the grown-ups in the situation to make sure that our kids are taken care of, they know that they are loved, and that they are in a safe environment in order for them to thrive. And if they don't feel that way, we have to create it, and create it within our communities in order to do that. And I look forward to working with all my colleagues and all the individuals within the community, anybody that interacts, any stakeholder that interacts in our city, that take heed to making sure that we decrease violence in the city of Wilmington, because this is our home. No one takes home better than us. So I hope that we all work together, and this is just the beginning of the action that will take place. Thank you.
Again, I just want to thank my colleagues, thank Pastor Ben, thank Pastor Greer, thank all of you for joining us today. As I mentioned earlier, our council will be giving 10 micro grants to different grassroots organizations totaling $45,000 that are already addressing violence. It's going to take much more than that, as my colleagues mentioned. It's going to take all of us. If you know someone, if you know a child that doesn't have a father or a mother in their lives, it's up to you, it's up to us to reach out to that family and not place blame on that family. We can do it, Wilmington. I know that we have to do it together. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, take care.
That was the history.